51. Lachnophobia is the fear of vegetables. The word originates from Greek lachno, vegetables, and phobos, fear or aversion. This may be one of the funny facts that sound like we're just making things up, but there is actually a medical diagnosis for the fear of veggies. In 2009, a woman was diagnosed with the condition. However, since she had a baby to care for, she overcame her phobia. 52. There were over 300 banana-related injuries in Britain in 2001. Over 300 banana-related accidents were reported in Britain in 2001, mostly involving people slipping on skins. 53. This Star Wars actor rolled around in the sand before shoots. In order to give Obi-Wan Kenobi a desert-worn, rugged look, Alec Guinness would lay on the Tunisian desert floor and roll around in his costume. 54. George Lucas got stuck in the Jaws shark's head. During a set visit, George Lucas thought it would be funny to stick his head in Bruce the shark's head. Steven Spielberg closed the jaws of the animatronic shark and George Lucas got stuck inside. So much for funny facts. 55. The voice of the exorcist demon ate raw eggs, chain-smoked, and had herself tied to a chair during recordings. Mercedes McCambridge fully committed to her role as Pazuzu's voice in the 70s horror classic, The Exorcist. Before recording her vocals, she chugged raw eggs, chain-smoked, and drank whiskey to make her voice harsher than normal. One of the most shocking funny facts. During the recordings, she had herself bound to a chair. After all of that dedication, she insisted not to have her voice credited in the film. 56. Bonnie and Clyde's gunshot sounds were so loud, a projectionist kept lowering the volume. Director star Warren Beatty deliberately made the gunshot sounds in Bonnie and Clyde pop out from the mix. During the film's British premiere, Beatty noticed the projectionist at the cinema lowering the volume because he thought the loud gunshots were due to poor audio mixing. 57. Everyday objects were used for the asteroids in Star Wars. The FX team at Industrial Light and Magic enjoyed choosing which objects they'll throw into the asteroid field for Star Wars scenes, the weirdest ones being a potato and a shoe. 58. Roman Polanski had pee thrown at his face during Chinatown. If you've had any experience making a video group project, you'd know the high-tension environment of productions. Fights are pretty much inevitable, one of the most iconic cinema fights and funny facts. During the shoot for Chinatown, Faye Dunaway asked for her character's motivation in one particular scene. Instead of offering advice, Roman Polanski yelled, "Say the fucking words. Your salary is your motivation." This friction continued until the director wouldn't let Dunaway take a toilet break. Fed up, Dunaway threw a coffee cup with her pee in his face. 59. The cast of Stand By Me accidentally got high from pot. Cookies. According to Kiefer Sutherland, the Stand By Me cast once went to a Renaissance fair near their shooting location. They bought cookies from the fair. However, they had accidentally eaten pot brownies. The crew found Jerry O'Connell high and sobbing somewhere in the park. 60. Forrest Gump has more CGI than Jurassic Park, when Forrest ran through a jungle. In Vietnam and showed his table tennis skills, that was CGI. Even the feather at the opening scene is computer-generated. Overall, Forrest Gump has more minutes of CGI screen time than Jurassic Park. Another one of those funny facts that are hard to believe. 61. Cooking shows are almost always scripted. For most cooking contests, contestants would get the ingredients. They have to use weeks earlier. For restaurant improvement shows, the restaurants they feature usually go bankrupt a month after their episode is aired. 62. There is a Starbucks cup in all frames of Fight Club. Move aside. Game of Thrones. David Fincher directed Fight Club at the height of Starbucks cafes popping up everywhere. He claimed it was too much of a good thing and put a Starbucks cup in every shot of the film. Starbucks allowed their products being shown in the 90s cult classic as long as their shop was not destroyed on film. For the cafe scene, Fincher used the fictional Gratifico coffee instead. 63. Woody was supposed to be a ventriloquist doll in Toy Story. Woody was originally written as the antagonist of the film, a sarcastic bully trying to pit the other toys against Buzz. 64. The great reality TV swindle is exactly what it sounds like. In 2002, 30 people were conned to join a fake reality TV show in the UK. Nick Russian, a bookstore clerk at the time, posed as a TV producer who offered a one-year show. Russian persuaded the participants to leave their homes, quit their jobs and partners. However, there was actually no program deal nor prize money. As a result, most of the 30 contestants went bankrupt. Since then, Nick Russian has not been convicted, since he did not take money from anyone and nobody has been able to track his whereabouts. 65. Reality TV phone calls are almost always fake. Phone calls are a familiar reality TV template, but there's not much reality to them either. It's relatively easy, since the fake conversation can be shot for each speaker and then edited together. 66. A sound engineer once got accidentally high on LSD while cleaning an old radio. When Elliot Curtis tried to restore an old Buchla Model 100 synthesizer, he ended up tripping on 50-year-old LSD. He only noticed a crystalline substance that had gathered on the radio, which he wiped off. Since he found it in a dark closet at a university, the psychedelic components were preserved. The LSD residue dissolved in his hands and got him into a 9-hour trip. How's that for wild, funny facts? 67. In Russia, competitive slapping is a sport. In March 2019, Russia held its first-ever competitive slapping contest. The winning contestant must deliver the hardest slap and endure the longest time being slapped. The contest was tournament-style, with winners for each match facing other winners until one man is left standing. The first-ever champion turned out to be Vasily Kamotsky, nicknamed Pelman or Dumpling. The 370-pound man won 30,000 Russian ruble, $470. 68. A farmer once grew a 10-pound pumpkin and turned it into a boat. People can be strange. One of the craziest funny facts is an actual news headline. For 4 years, Tennessee farmer Justin Ownby grew an almost 1,000-pound pumpkin. When he reached his goal, he hollowed it out and rowed it as a boat in a nearby pond. 69. Scientists have taught rats to drive. According to an experiment, rats can learn how to drive. Scientists made tiny cars with an aluminum floor and a steering wheel made out of 3 copper bars. When the rats stood on the car's aluminum floor and touched the copper bars, they would start an electrical charge that moves the car. By the end of the experiment, they had taught the rats to steer the car in different directions by touching different copper bars. Their secret? Fruit Loops. The scientists conditioned the rats to maneuver different ways by rewarding them with cereal pieces. 70. An Australian engineer once sued his ex-boss for farting on him. In March 2017, David Hinkst sued his ex-boss for repeatedly farting on him in his former job. He sought 1.8 million Australian dollars, 1.28 million worth in damages. Apparently, his boss would fart on him 5 to 6 times a day. But his former supervisor insists he only ever did it once or twice. 71. An octopus can eat its own tentacle. When an octopus is stressed, it may suffer from autophagy or self-cannibalism. In some cases, a stressed octopus can eat its own arms. However, an octopus can lose an arm without pain and regrow it with no problem. Imagine if we did the same when we get stressed. Now that would be one for funny facts. 72. Camels have straight spines. One look at a camel would have you thinking, what are you talking about? These funny facts are lies. However, camel spines are really no different than ours in structure. The hump on their back is not their spine, but an energy reserve entirely made of fat. 73. Slippery dick is a fish. Slippery dick, Halicoeres bevitatus, is a wrasse species found only in the shallow tropical waters of the western Atlantic Ocean. 74. Spotted dick is a dish. We know what you're thinking, but spotted dick is a British dessert popularized in 19th century England. It is a pudding made traditionally with sweat and dried fruit, often served with custard. Spotted referred to the dried fruit pieces, while dick and dog were terms widely used for pudding at the time. 75. Monica and Joey were supposed to be the main friends' romance. The 90s hit show had fans swooning over the romance arcs, but the pairings that ended up together weren't the original plan. Originally, Monica and Joey were supposed to be the endgame. Joey was also supposed to be extra sleazy, even hitting on Rachel, Monica, and Phoebe. However, Matt LeBlanc suggested toning down Joey's character to only flirting with girls outside the main cast. This made Joey way more likable, and gave way to the romances that ended up developing through the course of the series. 76. The blue meth in Breaking Bad is rock candy. Yup, they've been snorting rocks this whole time, but a confectionery kind. Crystal Sky is actually cotton. Candy-flavored rock candy. It may have been fake drugs, but the cast and crew were still getting a different kind of high from it. They'd eat the sugary mixture to keep them up during shoots. 77. There's a hilarious continuity error in the opening scene of Sex and the City. If you look closely, you'll notice how in one shot, the bus that splashes Carrie is full of passengers. However, in the next frame, the same bus appears empty. Definitely one of the funny facts that'll make you realize the devil really is in the details. 78. German chocolate cake is named after a guy. Contrary to its name, German chocolate cake named after its creator, an English-American, man named Sam German, not Germany. 79. Sharks can sleep with their eyes open. Some species of sharks have the ability to sleep with their eyes open. This is because they need to keep swimming to breathe, and they can rest while still being alert to their surroundings. 80. People used to dream in black and white. The world may not be black and white now, but there was a time when even dreams were. Before color TV was invented, 75% of people said their dreams were in black and white. However, only 12% does now. 81. Women were once warned of bicycle face disease. In the 19th century, experts warned women of the disease called bicycle face, or getting stuck with the faces they made while riding a bike. 82. Movies have a disclaimer that they're fictional because someone tried to sue Rasputin. Movies have to clarify itself as works of fiction because of a 1930s lawsuit against Rasputin. 83. Fruit salad trees can grow more than one kind of fruit. The aptly named fruit salad tree can grow up to 6 different fruits at the same time. 84. Horizontal refreshment used to be the 19th century slang for sex. I mean, if you think about it, it makes total sense. 85. Since the beginning of newscasting, there has only been one day with no news. April 18, 1930 was such an uneventful day that the BBC's radio announcer said, "There is no news. By 6:30 p.m., 86. You'd get rolled into a burrito if you're a violent drunk in Japan. Japanese police may get a futon and roll you into a burrito if you disrupt the public." 87. All. Mammals take about 12 seconds to poop. This average is regardless of poop size or composition. 88. New Zealand's 90-mile beach is 55 miles long. Name a scam, am I right? 89. The average person laughs 13 times a day. One of the more literal funny facts. A 4-year-old laughs about 300 times a day, while a 40-year-old would only laugh an average of 4 times. 90. Skydiving on a Sunday is illegal for single women in Florida. Unmarried women that are caught committing this crime can face imprisonment or subjected to fines. 91. It took Rubik a month to solve his cube, with 43,252, 313,274, 4,489, 856,000 possible combinations. Who could blame him? Aside from the irony, what puts this in funny facts is how the current record holder for the fastest time to solve a Rubik's Cube finished it in 4.22 seconds. 92. Grapes explode in the microwave. Funny facts disclaimer. Don't try this. At home. 93. The British royal family can't play Monopoly. It's not really because of a royal decree, like how the Queen can't sit on the Iron Throne since she can only sit on hers. One of the ridiculously unbelievable funny facts, Prince Andrew said playing the game gets too vicious for the royal family. 94. There are fewer real flamingos than plastic flamingos in the world. Plastic flamingos you see on lawns outnumber their living, breathing counterparts. 95. A blue whale tongue weighs as much as an elephant. A blue whale's tongue weighs 2.7 tons, which is almost the same weight as an adult male elephant. 96. Adult cats are lactose intolerant. Ironic as it sounds, feeding your grown cat milk can irritate their bowels. 97. In Kentucky, there are more barrels of bourbon than there are people. It only makes sense since 95% of the world's bourbon comes from Kentucky. 98. Before Alexander Fleming named penicillin, he called it mold juice. It may sound like a term someone coined on Tumblr, but Alexander Fleming did refer to penicillin as mold juice when he discovered it in 1928. 99. If you look strictly at statistics, you're more likely to win an Olympic medal than the lottery. According to statistics, your chances of winning an Olympic gold medal is about 1 in 3.5 million. However, the chances of you winning the lottery is 1 in 14 million. 100. A Canadian university handed out condoms with safe notes stapled on them. In one of the more unfortunate funny facts, a Canadian university's attempt to promote safe sex went horribly wrong when they handed out condoms with stapled notes. The staples had punctured the condoms, basically defeating its purpose. 101. The founder of Match.com lost his girlfriend to a man she met on Match.com. It may seem like another one of the darkly funny facts, but when his girlfriend left him for a man she met on his site, Gary Kremen didn't even break a sweat. According to Match.com founder, Kremen knew his project was successful when his own girlfriend left him for another man through Match.com.